Huh? What's the... Squirrel Battle Royale? They've done it. They've finally created perfection. This is Rodent Royale, an up-and-coming game where you actually get to play as a squirrel in a battle royale setting. Let's get one thing out of the way first. This is not a first-person shooter. Don't click off the video though, this game is awesome. Now, I played one of the most recent alpha tests for this game. That's right, alpha, and I loved it. For those of you who aren't too savvy on the difference between alphas and betas, it's that alphas are much farther from a finished product than a beta is, and yet, this was such a good experience. The gist of the game is that you're a squirrel. The battle map is a neighborhood, and there is a bit of a squirrel-based system. That's right, this isn't just an aesthetic for silly little jokes. You can climb walls and trees, your main method of attacking is scratching, and there's a season-changing mechanic. Again, don't click off the video, I will sum that part up very quickly. So... you ever watched that one episode of SpongeBob? The one where Sandy goes into hibernation? Yeah, so squirrels do that, and in this game, you actually start to die during the winter, which sort of acts like the storm in Fortnite. You need to go to special hot zones if you want to survive, but also, you could be a chonky little fella and eat enough food until you have fat to help survive the cold. More importantly, however, remember when I was talking about climbing and stuff? Well, the movement in this game is actually my favorite part. What can you climb? The walls of a house, trees, vines, power lines. There's a bit more than that, and you can also double jump. But yeah, it's really fun being able to do all that, and to go along with it, a lot of stuff can be destroyed. Yeah, this map is pretty destructible, not everything can be destroyed, but it's pretty great. Doors, windows, parts of trees, busting open cars, boxes, tearing up furniture, it is all great. I get to live out my very own squirrel dreams. Why might you want to do that though? Good question, hypothetical viewer. For trees, you can actually destroy all the leaves, which reveals someone hiding in the tree perhaps. Opening doors and windows lets you get into houses so that you can trash them, and, in doing so, you find items. Of course, one of those items is food, mainly junk food, which has a lot of fat, but more importantly, there are relics. These are what determine your speed, your defense, your damage, so it's pretty important. I think it's needless to say that looting is a pretty big thing in this game, but there's actually more to it than just that, because you actually have levels in this game. I will let you in on a little secret, I don't like PvP that much, unless it's like an actual fighting game. I avoid confrontation a fair bit, and this game does a great job of balancing between passive and aggressive play. When you destroy stuff and scavenge through trash, you gain experience. You get some from fighting entities on the map, and I think fighting players as well, but it's much more efficient to just loot the map. When you level up, you unlock a new ability, and yeah, the squirrels have some actual crazy abilities. Proximity explosives in the form of mushrooms. We got that. Invisibility. We got that too. And my favorite ability has to go to the propeller hat, which lets you infinitely jump for a short while, and it is amazing. This is all just the surface level of the game too. There are lots of great design choices that I really appreciate about this, and even things outside of that. So, there's something that's actually kind of important to mention. This game actually gives you lives. Yeah, a battle royale with lives. It's kinda wild, and I'll get to how that works in a little while. Every round, you start with 3 lives, for solo play at least. I think I might have heard the devs say in their Discord that squads wouldn't have that, but I'm not sure. This just means that when you die, you'll drop back in all over again, keeping your levels and most of your items. You don't drop any of your relics unless you run out of lives, but no matter what, you're going to lose a bit of your food if you die. And I like this because it ties back into what I mentioned before about how the game balances between aggressive and passive play. It's not just one and done, you have a chance to make a comeback, and it allows the player to better learn from their mistakes, in my opinion. And speaking of that balance, another thing works into that, being... this game is only technically a battle royale. I mean, you do in fact play to the last squirrel standing, but that doesn't actually mean that you're going to be the winner per se. There's a score system, and your kill count is a big part of your score. Basically, you won't win if you don't get any kills, and that's good. They also took to tweaking it so that there's a good last surviving player bonus. This means that if you camp and just snipe the last other person, you won't win. But it also means that you're rewarded for not just your combat skills, but your survival skills. There are so many movement and escape-based abilities, like the jetpack and invisibility, so it wouldn't make sense if you weren't supposed to run from certain fights or your long-term survival. And on that note about abilities, there's actually one meant for tracking people. You see, when you attack or take damage, you get a red highlight around yourself, because it can be hard to find players. One ability, Tracer Bullet, deals almost no damage, but inflicts a long-duration poison so that you can follow the person that you hit. This is good game design. Now, I actually don't like this ability too much, because, well, it does require fairly decent aim, and again, just like no damage, and takes up an ability slot. But it gives you a valid option. Of course, high damage abilities are the most popular, such as one which creates a field of constant damage around you. It's, pretty good. Also, notice how I mentioned limited ability slots. You can get 5 abilities, but can actually keep leveling up. What do those levels do? They let you upgrade the abilities to have more charges in between cooldowns, or enhance their effects. This game's really cool. Seriously. Anyways, back to what I said earlier about things outside of the game's design that were pretty good. The dev team is super devoted to their work in the community. Love it. Not only are they doing all this balancing and taking into account all the player feedback that they're getting, but I love how they're doing so many tests. They did a few tests for solo play, and the test that I was there for was a server stress test, something pretty important for any online game. The separate upcoming test for squad play will also be happening around the day after I upload this, so on December 22nd. And if you're interested, I'll link the game's Discord in the description. Continuing on about the devs, the next point relates to them too. You see, I was actually incredibly skeptical when I first saw this game. A free-to-play battle royale, a fairly popular genre, one that's used by a wide range of people, featuring squirrels, that I saw in a Twitter ad. I was actually kinda scared that this was crafted to gain people's attention for something malicious. I'm talking about crypto scams. But no, the devs actually said that they will never get involved in NFTs or crypto, and warn people to not get scammed into anything like that. I actually really appreciate that. The devs don't just care about the players' thoughts, but their well-being, along with the game's integrity. Then, there's the actual tech within the game, which is very interesting. Some players found that if you start a charge attack... Oh yeah, charge attacks and shields are a thing, by the way. And, if you let go, it gives you a small momentum boost. That means that skilled players can actually make up for a lack of speed with this tech, for both chases and escapes. Tech like this transforms games, usually for the better, and it's actually really easy to do. This game is just so interesting and promising, with all the little details in it. During winter, there's plants that grant a huge amount of EXP outside the safe zones, locations have different item rates, like the arcade having junk food and relics, and it's super easy to find the best healing item in the game, aloe vera, in every house and field. I hope that this game prospers, with possibly more abilities, maps, but above all, polish. The world of live service games, especially something like a Battle Royale, is rough, so I think these devs deserve you giving their game a chance in future tests, as well as when it comes out. I mean, it's planned to be free to play after all. So yeah, with that all said and done, thank you to everybody for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!